So we will start the today's session. In the last session, we have taken constant volume process. Right? In the last session, we have covered the constant volume process. Okay, now for this session, today's session, okay, we will start with one more process, and that is constant pressure process. Try to understand. Now we'll start with the constant pressure process. Constant pressure process. And see, this constant pressure process, it is also known as isobaric. This is also known as isobaric process. Okay, baric. Baric is somewhat related with the pressure, right? Baric. So it's related with the pressure. Okay, so we will call a constant pressure process as isobaric process. Okay, so let's start first. Okay, let's start first with the PV diagram. PV diagram. Let us start with the PV diagram. Okay, so I will start with the PV diagram. Okay, let's consider this vertical axis, which is having pressure, and let's consider this horizontal axis where we have a volume. Okay, now let me know how I should draw the constant pressure process. Okay, when the process was constant volume, I have drawn it as a vertical line, right? I have drawn it as a vertical line. Now the process is constant pressure. Okay, so how I should draw that? Okay, how I should start? It's a constant pressure. So when it is constant volume, it's a vertical line. On the similar hand, if it's a constant pressure, it should be a horizontal line, right? It should be a horizontal line. Okay, so if I consider this as point number one, let's consider this as a point number one, where we have pressure as P1, where we have a pressure as P1, and we have a volume as V1. Okay, so at point number one, we have pressure P1 and volume V1. Okay, let's say from point number one, okay, I will move to point number two. Okay, I will move from point number one, I will move to point number two. Okay, but during the process 1 to 2, okay, what is done? The pressure is held constant because the process is constant pressure process. Okay, so when you move from state number 1 to state number 2, your pressure should be constant. That is a constant pressure process. Okay, so when I move along a constant pressure line, what happens? The initially volume which was V1, now it got increased to V2. Okay, now it got increased to V2. Is it okay? See, whenever it's a constant pressure, obviously we should have a horizontal line. When it is a constant volume, we should have a vertical line, right? Okay, so this is a constant pressure process. So point number one, where pressure is P1 and volume is V1. Now, from point number one, I will move horizontally because the process is constant pressure. So I will reach to point number two, where pressure is P2. Okay, where pressure is P2. Okay, but you can see here, P1 is equal to P2. I will write down. P1 is equal to P2. Okay, P1 is equal to P2. Pressure is same. P1 is equal to P2, and I will reach new volume, that is V2. Okay. Now, so many of you have doubts, sir. Why you move only in horizontal direction? Okay, not a problem. See, we can also have a reverse process. Okay, let's say this is a pressure scale. This is a volume scale. Okay, if I take point number one here, where I have the pressure as P1. Okay, and let's say I have the volume as V1, right? Let's say I have the volume as V1. Now, so from point number one, I will move towards left hand side. Okay, so I will reach it to point number two. Okay, where pressure is P2. Okay, where pressure is P2. But when I move from point number one to point number two, I will move along a constant pressure line, right? So P2 is equal to P1. Okay, so I will get a new volume, that is V2. That is V2. Is it okay now? See, whenever there is a horizontal line, there are two possibilities. Either you can move towards right or you can move towards left. Okay, so if one is the initial state, two can be the final state. Similarly, if this is a one is the initial state, the two can be the final state, right? Now see, if the arrow is going towards right, okay, such sort of process, it is called as heating. Heating, try to understand. And if you can see here, where arrow is going towards left, such sort of process it is called as cooling. Try to understand. I will give you a simple example. Okay, let's consider. Okay, let's have some. Okay, let's take some water. Okay, in any what you can say, in the pot. You take the water in the pot. Okay, and just start heating that water. Okay, what will happen? Slowly the temperature of the water will increase, right? And the temperature of the water will increase up to 100 degrees Celsius. Once it reaches the 100 degrees Celsius, what happens is that water will be get converted into vapor. Okay, that means, okay, volume of a vapor will be always more than volume of a water. Try to understand. At point number 1, what you have? Water. So when you have a water at point number 1, if you start heating that water, so what happen? At 100 degrees Celsius, water will be get converted into vapor. Okay, so obviously the volume of a vapor, that is V2, it is greater than volume of a water, that is liquid. So V2 is obviously greater than V1. Have you understood this one? But during this process of heating, what happens is pressure of the water is held constant because it's atmospheric pressure. Is it okay with this one? So pressure of the water, it remains constant. That is atmospheric pressure. Similar sort of thing when it will happen for the cooling. Let's say you have vapor here. At point number 1, you have vapor here. That vapor you cool it. Okay, that vapor you cool it. So when you cool this vapor, what happens? This vapor will be get converted into water back, right? So this vapor will be get converted into water. Okay, so one is heating where we are converting water to vapor, and second is cooling where we are converting vapor to liquid again, right? So have you understood this process? Let me know. Have you understood this process? But here you can observe, okay, whether it is heating or whether it is cooling, okay, it has done at a constant pressure. Is it okay, all of you? Is it okay with this one? Let me know. Is it okay, all of you? Let me know. Is it clear with this one? Yes, any one of you can respond. Is it okay or not? Let me know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's go to the next point. See, we have seen first PV diagram. Okay, so as like constant volume process, we have seen after that PVT relation. What is the relationship between pressure, volume, and temperature? So that is very required. Okay, so PVT relation. Okay, now see, as I told you in the last lecture only, okay, see, P1 V1 is equal to MRT1, right? So this is basically the ideal gas equation. So from this, we can write down P1 V1 by T1 is equal to MR, right? P1 V1 by T1 is equal to MR. On the similar hand, see, this I have written for state number 1. Similar expression I will write down for state number 2. P2 V2 is equal to MRT2. Okay, so I will write down P2 V2 by T2 is equal to MR. P2 V2 by T2 is equal to MR, right? So when you the right hand sides are equal, so when you equate the left hand side, what you will get? You will get P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2, right? P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2. Okay, so this is the equation, or this is a general equation what we got. Now, based on the condition which is mentioned in the problem, we are supposed to modify that expression, right? So as you can see in the problem, our pressure is constant, right? So we have the value of P1 is equal to P2. Okay, so as we have P1 is equal to P2, so this expression we can write down as V1 by T1 is equal to V2 by T2, right? This is, see, because P1 and P2 they are same, they will get cancelled. What is remaining? V1 by T1 is V2 by T2, right? So this is a relationship between volume and temperature, basically, right? This is a relationship between volume and temperature when pressure is held constant. Okay, because when the pressure is constant, the pressure gets cancelled, and in that case, you have the relationship between only volume and temperature. Is it okay with this one? Right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So this is relationship between pressure, volume, and temperature. Now let's go to the next point. See, Okay, we have seen PV diagram, we have seen PVT relation. Now let's calculate, okay, the amount of work transfer. Let's calculate the amount of work transfer. We're interested to calculate work transfer during 1 to 2. What do we want? We want the work transfer during 1 to 2. So see, before writing the formula, as I told you, if you plot any process on a PV diagram, if you plot any process on a PV diagram, if you plot any process on pressure and volume diagram, so area below that process will give you the work done, right? So see, if I just highlight the area, if I just highlight the area which is coming below this, okay, so this is the area, right? This is the area which is coming below the process. You can see this is the area which is coming below the process, right? Similarly, this is the area which is coming the process. Okay, so if you are able to calculate the area, okay, then that area will give you the work done, right? So this area, it is nothing but what? Work done. So how will calculate the area? See, how will calculate the area? I will just do it in rough. Okay, so how will calculate W122? W122 is given by, okay, see, what is this side measures? It measures P1 or P2, right? This measures P1 or P2. See, you can see this height is P1. Okay, so I will write down P1. It is same as P2, right? P1 and P2, they are same. So this is P1. And what is this side? It is V2 minus V1, right? So this is V2 minus V1. Yes or no? Is it okay or not? See how it will measure. So if you want, I will write down W122 is given by P1. See, this side is P1 and into this side is V2 minus V1 into V2 minus V1. Yes or no? Is it okay? Similar here you will get, right? Similarly, you will get W122 is given by again pressure is P1. See, you can see this side is P1 into what? Again what? V1 minus V2, right? V1 minus V2. Right? Yes or no? Can you write on V1 minus V2? No, it's a final state, V2 minus V1 into V2 minus V1. Try to understand. We always used to write down final state minus initial state. Right? You can see here. What is the final state? At final state, volume is V2 minus at initial state, volume is V1. So that is what is written. Similarly here. Okay, this side it is measuring P1 or P2. So that is written P1 into what? Change in volume. That is final volume minus initial volume. Is it okay? Yes or no? Is it clear with this one? Okay, now see all of you here. Here you can see V2 is greater than V1, right? See, V2 is greater than V1. So as V2 is greater than V1, this work done will be positive. Try to understand. This will be positive. This is very important. See here, V2 is greater than V1. So it's a positive because we always used to take final minus initial. You can check it. Final minus initial. It's not always higher minus lower. It's not always, right? What you should have? Final volume is V2, initial volume is V1. Similarly here, final volume is V2, initial volume is V1, right? So see, you can see here, final volume is less than initial volume, right? V2, you can see here, V2 is less than V1. So this term you will get it as negative. Is it okay? This term you will get it as negative. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Right. So now let's do that. So now see, this is how we can calculate by the, or you can say the graphically. Okay, now come back to the formula. How we can use the formula? W122 work done during 1 to 2 is given by integration PdV for process 1 to 2. Okay, see, this is the generalized formula for which we have taken the derivation, right? The derivation, it has been already explained to you. So work done during 1 to 2 is given by integration 1 to 2 PdV. And we can see here pressure is constant, right? P1 is equal to P2. So pressure is constant. So what I will do, I will just take pressure outside I will take out, I will make it out of the integration. So what I will get? Integration 1 to 2 dV. Okay. So what I will get? P into, what is the integration of dV? It's V for process 1 to 2. So it is P into, see, integration of dV is V for process 1 to 2. then you put upper limit minus lower limit, right? So that is V2 minus V1, right? P into V2 minus V1. Yes or no? Is it okay? Now see, what is P into V2? See, what is P into V2? You can check it. What is, see here, P1 and P2, they are same, right? P1 and P2, they are both same, right? Then what is P into V2? See, what is P into V2? See, if you want, I will just write down. P2 is equal to P1 is equal to P. Let us call this as a single pressure, P. Similarly, P2 is equal to P1 is equal to P. Okay, it's a single value of pressure because it's a constant, right? Then what is P into V2? You can check it. What is P into V2? It's MRT2, right? It's a MRT2. So it is MRT2. See, P into V2 is MRT2. What is P into V1? You can check it. What is P into V1? It's MRT1, right? MRT1. So I will write down this as MRT2 minus T1. Is it okay? You can see P into V2. P into V2, it's MRT2. See, P into V2, it's MRT2. Next, P into V1. P into V1 is MRT1. You can check MRT1. Is it okay? So are you getting same answer? You can check it. You're getting same. Whether you go graphically or you go by the basic derivation or by basic formula, right? So this is how we'll calculate work transfer. This is how we'll calculate work transfer, right? So if volume is given, you use the formula. If the temperatures are given, you use the formula, right? So this is how we can solve. Okay, now let's calculate the fourth thing, and that is heat transfer. Heat transfer. We are interested to calculate heat transfer, which is indicated by Q12, right? Heat transfer, it is indicated by Q12, right? So how will calculate Q12? See, with this diagram, we are not able to calculate heat transfer because this is a PV diagram. If we need to calculate heat transfer, you require TS diagram, temperature entropy diagram. So if you plot any process on temperature entropy diagram, it will give you the heat transfer. Okay, so see, heat transfer. So formula for heat transfer is, okay, integration 1 to 2 mCp dt. Try to understand. Okay, because the process is done at a constant pressure. It's a constant pressure process. So formula is mCp. If the process it is done at constant volume, the process is mCv. The process is mCv, right? So let's do that. So mass is constant, Cp is also constant. Okay, now we'll integrate 1 to 2 for dt. We'll integrate it for change in temperature, right? So what we'll get? We will get mCp. Integration of dt is T for the process 1 to 2. Okay, so what we will get is mCp T2 minus T1, right? We will put upper limit minus lower limit. Is it okay? mCp T2 minus T1. Yes or no? Is it okay or not? Right? Is it okay or not? Let me know.
सर एक बार और बताओ.
See, formula for heat transfer. What is the formula for heat transfer? Because the heat is transferred at a constant pressure. So formula is integration mCp dt for process 1 to 2. Now mass is constant as well as specific heat is constant, right? Whatever the mass, it is constant because whatever the process we are seeing, this process, it belongs to closed system. What is the meaning of closed system? Mass is constant. So mass, I will take it out. Also specific heat, it's a property of gas. Specific heat, it is a property of gas. So it is also constant. Cp is constant. So what is the remaining? Integration of 1 to 2 dt. That is only written. Now what is the integration of dt? It's T. Integration of dt is T for process 1 to 2. Now you put upper limit, that is T2, minus lower limit, that is T. Is it okay? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now try to understand this formula. This formula I have already explained. What is mCp? Okay, what is mCp T2 minus T1? Try to understand. In the last lecture only, we have seen the formula. In the last lecture only, we have seen this formula for mCp T2 minus T1. Just try to recollect it. Okay, you can see it. Here it is in front of you only. What is mCp T2 minus T1? Can you see this? mCp T2 minus T1. In the last lecture only, I told you. What is mCp T2 minus T1? It's a change in enthalpy. See, we have calculated change in enthalpy and it was coming as mCpT2 minus T1, right? So what is change in enthalpy? It is mCpT2 minus T1. Yes or no? Same value we got it here. mCpT2 minus T1. So that is nothing but what? Change in enthalpy. Yes or no? Let me know. Is it a change in enthalpy? It's a delta H. Is it okay? Yes or no? Let me know. Change in mCpT2 minus T1. It's a change in enthalpy. Is it okay? Yes or no? Okay, let's now go to the next process. We will calculate change in internal energy. Change in internal energy. I'll just indicate by different color. Change in internal energy. Okay, now we are interested to calculate what is the change in internal energy, right? So change in internal energy we always calculate by delta U. Okay, that is nothing but change in internal energy. Okay, so from where this concept of change in internal energy was came? Okay, it was come from the first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a non-cyclic process. Okay, so what it says, the difference between heat transfer and work transfer is given by change in internal energy. So this is the first law of thermodynamics for a closed system undergoing a non-cyclic process. Okay, so heat will not be equal to work. There is some difference between heat and work, and that difference is given by change in internal energy. Right? So now let us put those values. What is Q122? Here only we have it. Q122. Q122 it's mCp T2 minus T1. So it is mCp T2 minus T1. You can see mCp T2 minus T1 minus what is work done? Work done you can have it mR T2 minus T1. Try to understand. See, this is work done. mR T2 minus T1. Okay, now let's calculate it. So delta U is given by M. See, M is constant. M is common in both the things, both the terms. Okay, again T2 minus T1 is also common. T2 minus T1 is also common. Then what is remaining? Cp minus R, right? What is remaining is Cp minus R. So I'll just write M Cp minus R. mCp minus R. See, M into Cp minus R into T2 minus T1. Into T2 minus T1. Is it okay or not? Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Right? So what value we are getting? What value you are getting? We are getting it as M. See, change in internal energy delta U is given by M. What is Cp minus R? See, Cp minus Cv is equal to R, right? Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Then what is Cp minus R? It is Cv. It is Cv into T2 minus T1. Okay, just try to remember this. See, Cp minus Cv is equal to R. Then what is Cp minus R? It's Cv. Okay, so this is the formula for change in internal energy, right? Now let me write down the last formula. Okay, here only I'll write down change in enthalpy. Change in enthalpy. Change in enthalpy. It is indicated by delta H, right? Change in enthalpy is indicated by delta H. And what is the formula for delta H? Okay, it is same, na? M Cp T2 minus T1. See, this is only delta H, na? That is M Cp T2 minus T1. Is it okay? All of you, is it okay? Is it okay or not? Have you understood this derivation? Let me clear. Have you understood this derivation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see, this was the second process. This was the second process. In the last lecture, we have taken constant volume. Now just we have finished with the constant pressure process. Okay, now let's see the one more process. Let us see the one more process. Okay, and that is called as constant. Third process I will write down. Constant temperature process. Constant temperature process. Constant temperature process. So this constant temperature process, it is also known as isothermal process. Try to understand. This is also known as isothermal. This is also known as isothermal process. Okay, try to understand. See, temperature, it is related with the thermal. Okay, temperature means what? It is related with the thermal, right? So it's a constant means it's iso. See, constant is iso. Temperature is thermal, right? So it's a isothermal, right? Just a time before we have seen it constant pressure. What is constant? Constant means iso, and pressure, it is nothing but a baric, right? It is related with bar, right? So let us solve now this. Okay, let's first see. Okay, let's first start with the PV diagram. I will start first with the PV diagram. PV diagram for the process. Okay, let's start with the PV diagram for the process. Okay, so I will just draw. Okay, I will just indicate this as a pressure line, this as a volume line. Okay, let's consider this as the initial point 1. Okay, and let's consider, see, this is my initial point 1, where I have the pressure as P1. Okay, and I have the volume as V1. Okay, so let's say from point number 1, I need to reach it to point number 2 here. Okay, where pressure is P2 and volume is V2, and where volume is V2. Okay, see here, right? I need to reach it to point number 2. Is it okay? So this is one process. Okay, I will not show how to connect it. I will not show how to connect it. I will show it afterwards. Okay, now see, this is one process where 1 it is at top side and 2 it is at a bottom side, right? I can have a reverse diagram. Okay, for every process I'm showing you the 2 diagrams which are exactly reversed. Okay, now let's consider again, this is a pressure volume diagram where I have point number 1 here, where I have the pressure as P1 and volume as V1, right? Now let's consider this as point number 2. Let's consider this as point number 2, where volume is V2 and where pressure is P2 and where pressure is P2. Okay, I don't know how I should connect those because it's not a constant volume. So if it is a constant volume, I have a vertical line. If it's a constant pressure, I will have a horizontal line. Okay, but now it's a constant temperature. I don't know how I should connect, or what is the nature of the process. Okay, or what is the nature of the what you can say, by means of a curve or by means of a line, I will connect. Okay, so for that I need to work out. So let's keep it here only. Okay, let's proceed ahead. Okay, so let's start with the PVT relationship. What is the relationship between pressure, volume, and temperature? Let us start. Okay, so PVT relation we will start. So as you know, P1 V1 is equal to MRT1 again, same. So it implies that P1 V1 by T1 is equal to MR. Similar hand, we have P2 V2 is equal to MRT2. So it implies that P2 V2 by T2 is equal to MR, right? So based on this equation, I will just write down it as P1 V1 by T1 is equal to P2 V2 by T2, right? I will just write down these are P2 V2 by T2. Okay, so I just their right hand sides are equal. I will equate their left hand sides. Okay, but you can see here, see, it's a constant temperature, right? So temperature has to be constant. So temperature at the initial state should be equal to temperature at the final state. So T1 has to be equal to T2. So what happens? You will get the law P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Try to understand what you will get. P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Okay, so this is the law which basically governs the process. Okay, P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Okay, that means what? In simple, you can write down this as product of pressure and volume is constant, right? Product of pressure and volume is constant. You can see product of P1 V1. Okay, it is same as product of P2 V2. That means what? Simply the product of pressure and volume is constant, right? So this is what you can. Okay, what equation we will get. So if you just see this PV is equal to, see, this is very important relation Okay, and this is the governing equation for the isothermal process, right? So PV is equal to constant. It's basically the governing equation for the isothermal process. Okay, isothermal process. Okay, so if you just see here, okay, if you just see, if I need to connect this process 1 to 2, okay, so its nature will be somewhat like this. You can see its nature will be somewhat like this. See, it's not a straight line. It's not a straight line. It's a curved one. Okay, so this is 1 to 2. Similarly, okay, so this is the, again, this is not a straight line. It's a curved one, right? It's not either constant volume or not a constant pressure, right? It's not constant volume, it's not constant pressure. Okay, so this is how it look like. Okay, right? So see when you write down the, or when you draw the isothermal process, it is necessary to require the law on the process. Okay, so it's PV is equal to C. Okay, this is very required. Why it is required? Because there are again two more processes like adiabatic process and polytropic process. They will look like isothermal process. So that is the reason, in order to differentiate it, you should write down the law for the isothermal process. Because for isothermal, the law is PV is equal to C. For adiabatic, the law is PV raised to power gamma is equal to C. And for polytropic, law is PV raised to power N is equal to C. See, we will see in a detail. Okay, the purpose to tell you is you should write down the law. Then only you will be able to understand which is the process. Right? So I will just written the law. Right? So law is PV is equal to C. So when you have a law which is written like this, you will understand that it's isothermal, right? So see, as I told you, if you just calculate the area below this process. Okay, so this is the area which comes below this process, right? This is the area which comes below this process, right? So this is area, right? So this, if you calculate this area, so this area will give you the value of work transfer. Okay, so this area will give you the value of work transfer. So this is work transfer during 1 to 2, right? This is work transfer again during 1 to 2. Okay, but see, all of you try to understand this thing. Here what is happening is, here pressure is decreasing. Try to understand. Pressure is decreasing and volume is increasing. If you number 2, okay, and if you reach to point number 2, what happens? From point number 1 to 2, pressure is decreased and volume is increased, and such sort of process, it's called as expansion. So such process, it is called as expansion. Okay, now if the reverse case will happen here. Okay, so when you will start moving from point number 1 to point number 2, what happens? The pressure will increase, but volume will decrease. Okay, so when pressure increases, volume decreases, such sort of process, it is called as compression. So both are exactly reverse processes. One is expansion and second is compression. Okay, so as I told you, the area below the process will give you the work transfer. Now we are interested to calculate the amount of work transfer. Okay, so I can't do it directly. Okay, or I can't do it simply. Okay, because you can say it's a curvature. Okay, I can't calculate it graphically. Okay, because see, if you need to calculate graphically, you need to take one strip. Okay, and you need to integrate that strip over the domain. Okay, so you need to go for that integration part, mathematical part. So better I will use the thermodynamics formula for that. Okay, so let's go to the C point, and that is work transfer. We'll calculate the amount of work transfer, and work transfer, it is indicated by W1 to 2. Okay, now how will calculate W1 to 2? See, same like last derivation, what we have taken, you can check it. Okay, work transfer is integration PdV 1 to 2, right? So we'll just write down that formula. Integration PdV for process 1 to 2, right? Same formula written. Okay, whatever the process might be, formula will remain same, right? So is equal to, you can check it now. See, what value of P I can put? I can put the value of P as C by V. You can see P, it is to be written as C by V. So I'll just write down 1 to 2 C by V dV. Okay, now you can check. C is a constant value, right? Product of pressure and volume is constant. So C is a constant. I will take it out. So C integration 1 to 2 1 by V dV, right? So this is what we got. Right. Now let us integrate it. So I will just write on this as C. C I have written as it is. What is the integration of 1 by V? It's a log V. Try to understand. Its integration is log, okay, to the base EV. Okay, integration of 1 by V dV. Integration of 1 by V is log V. Okay, for process 1 to 2. Try to understand. For process 1 to 2, right? So I'll just write down this W1 to 2 as W1 to 2 as C. Okay, you can see C. C, I will write down C into log, okay, C into log E, okay. So I need to put upper limit minus lower limit. So I'll just write down this as log V2 minus log V1. Okay, log V2 minus log V1. Try to understand. Upper limit minus lower limit. So it's log V2 minus log V1. So I will just write down this as C into log to the base E. What is log V2 minus V1? So it is log V2 by V1, right? So it's log V2 by V1. Try to understand. So C into log of V2 by V1, right? So what is the formula for W1 to 2? It is C into log of V2 by V1. Now, the question will be, what is the value of C? See, all of you, see, I would just written here C. Okay, so instead of C, what you can put? You can put this as P1 V1 or P2 V2. Okay, so C can be either P1 V1 or it can be P2 V2 or C. What is the formula for C? What is the value of C? It's P1 V1 or P2 V2. What is P1 V1? It's MRT1. What is P2 V2? It's MRT2. Okay, so or MRT1 or MRT2. Any value of C you can put based on what given data you have, right? Okay, so whatever the given data you have, based on that, you put C as P1 V1 or P2 V2 or MRT1 or MRT2. You will get 4 formulas for that. Okay, you get 4 formulas. Any value you can put based on what data is given. Now just try to check. What is the value of V2 by V1 we'll put? See, V2, see here, all of you. V2 by V1, see, V2 by V1 is given by P1 by P2, right? P1 by P2 is V2 by V1. Okay, so instead of V2, what we can put? Instead of V2 by V1, we can put it as P1 by P2. I understand. Instead of V2 by V1, we can put this as P2 by P1. Is it okay, all of you? P1 by P2. Instead of V2 by V1, we will put P1 by P2. Is it okay? All of you? See how many formulas are there? How many formulas we are getting? You can see here. Okay, you can put this C as P1 V1. You put C instead of C, you put P1 V1. You keep this as P2 V2. Okay. Otherwise, you can put this value of C. You can put this value here. Similarly, instead of C, you can put this here. You keep this here, or you can this. A number of combinations you will get for this. Okay, so you can use any formula. Okay, provided you will get same answer. Is it okay, all of you? Let me know. Is it okay? Is it okay with this one or not? Let me know.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let us start with the next point. Let's start with the next point. Okay, and let's start with the, see, now we have calculated work transfer. Now we will go to heat transfer. Okay, heat transfer. And heat transfer, it is indicated by Q1 to 2. Heat transfer. How will indicate heat transfer? Heat transfer, it is indicated by Q1 to 2. So how to calculate heat transfer? Okay, so as you know, the equation change in internal energy is given by heat transfer minus work transfer, right? Change in internal energy is given by heat transfer minus work transfer. So from that, see, now all of you, see, all of you just see here. What is the formula for change in internal energy? This is very, very required. Huh? This is very required. What is the formula for change in internal energy? Here only I will write down. Delta U. For what is the formula for internal energy? It might be any process. Huh? See, formula for change in internal energy and change in enthalpy, it is same for any formula for internal energy is same. And what was that formula? mCv T2 minus T1. Okay. So formula for change in internal energy is mCv, okay, into T2 minus T1. Try to understand. This is the formula for change in internal energy. It will not depend upon process. The formula is same because you can see the formula it is being derived based on basic equation. Basic equation. So formula for change in internal energy and change in enthalpy is same. It will not vary. It will not vary based on the method. Now see, this is the formula for change in internal energy. But what we can have? See, but we have the value of T1 is equal to T2. See, T1 is equal to T2. Both are same. See, I will write down as T1 is equal to T2. Okay, change in internal energy, you will get equal to what? 0, right? You will get the value of change in internal energy 0, right? So that we will put change in internal energy. See, when T2 is equal to T1, what happens? This term will be 0 and your change in internal energy is 0. Okay, so E is equal to Q122, delta U is 0, Q122 minus W122. Okay, so this is the value of W122, right? So minus W122. So you can write down this as heat transfer is equal to work transfer. Try to understand. Heat transfer is equal to work transfer, right? Heat transfer is equal to work transfer. Is it okay, all of you? Is it okay or not? Let me know. Because change in internal energy is 0. Okay, change in internal energy is 0. Clear? Yes or no? If you want, I will write down this as one more time. I will just write down this as separate term. Change in internal energy. Change in internal energy. So how you will calculate change in internal energy? Change in internal energy, it is indicated by delta U. What is the formula for delta U? Delta U is given by M CV into T2 minus T1. See, it's same thing which is written here. I am writing, just copying here, mCv T2 minus T1. But we have T2 is equal to T1. T2 is equal to T1. So delta U, that is change in internal energy, is 0. Says or no? Let me know. Says or no? Delta U is 0. Similarly, the last term we will calculate is change in enthalpy. Change in enthalpy. So how we used to calculate change in enthalpy is indicated by delta H. Change in enthalpy is delta H. So see, internal energy, it is always related with CV, and change in enthalpy, it is always related with CP. So change in enthalpy is mCp into T2 minus T1. mCp into T2 minus T1. But same. But again, temperature is same. T2 is equal to T1. You can see. But temperature, they are same. So change in enthalpy is equal to 0. Yes or no? Let me know. Is it okay, all of you? So change in enthalpy is again 0. Clear? Have you understood, all of you, this thing? Have you understood this one? Is there any doubt or difficulty with this expression? Let me know. Is there any doubt or difficulty with this expression? Is it clear, all of you? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt in this process? See, you understand. One is an expansion, second is a compression. Both are exactly reverse. See, during expansion, work is produced. During compression, what happens? The work gets consumed. See, during this one, what happens? The work gets consumed, but work gets consumed. Okay. See here only. If you put the values. See here, all of you. See, let me show you this thing. How it will comes. See, what we need to calculate? We need to calculate the work transfer. We need to calculate work transfer. So this is the formula for work transfer. This is the formula for work transfer, where you have log of V2 by V1, right? Log of V2 by V1. So V2 you can see is greater. See here in this diagram, V2 is greater than V1, right? V2 is greater than V1. So this term you will get as a positive. Try to understand. This term you will get it as a positive value. Okay. But if you just come back to this diagram, you can see V2 is less than V1. Okay, let me write down here V1, right? So this is V1. So this V2 volume at final state, it is less than V1, right? So this V2 is less than V1 here, right? So this value you will get it as negative. Have you understood? So whenever work is being produced, that is during expansion, it is to be taken as positive. And whenever work is consumed during compression, it is to be taken as negative. Is it okay? See, I always used to tell you, work produced, you take it as positive, work consumed, you take it as negative. Why it is so? Okay, that you understood now, right? So whenever the work is being produced, what happens? Final volume, it is greater than initial volume. So work becomes positive. And whenever the work gets consumed, final volume V2 is less than initial volume V1. So your work is negative. Is it okay, all of you? Is it okay with this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what we will do? See, if there is any doubt, you let me know. Otherwise, we can stop the today's session and we will conclude this today's session. And in the next session, we will see one more process, that is adiabatic process and polytropic process. And once we finish these two processes, we will immediately start the problem, okay, which are based on, okay, all this process which we have seen. So we will take combined problem. We will take the combined problem where most of the processes which we have taken, they will be covered, right? So we will not take separate problem for each process. We will take a single problem where most of the methods have been covered. Okay, so today I will conclude the session, and in the next session we will continue with the adiabatic process and polytropic process.